I'm at the World Travel Market. I'm talking to Dermot Blastland, who, in my opinion, and that of many others, is the father of sustainable tourism moving into the mainstream in the United Kingdom. First of all, his first choice, now with a massive TUI. So tell me, Dermot, how do you think it's happening? How do you think it's going on now? Sustainable tourism, that is.
I think it's beginning to, the realisation of taking it seriously is beginning to get across. One of the things we've been trying to do is to talk to hoteliers in particular and say, although it's sustainability or environmentally sensitive, what we're doing is beginning to use language that grounds this in practicalities, like water flow through the heads in showers. But we discovered at one of our units where we had 1,400 staff, in their shower block they were still flowing at 21 litres, whereas the customers' bedrooms were running at 7.5 litres. We discovered in another hotel where they've invested in all the technology, where you put your room card in and it turns all the power on, and if you open the patio doors it turns the air conditioning off. We discovered that 50% of the rooms, actually the system had failed because it hadn't been maintained. So we're going across to hoteliers and saying this isn't about tree hugging, this is about very, very practical, grounded actions of stop wasting water, stop backwashing the hotel, swimming pools too much, making sure all the energy saving equipment is maintained and kept, check all the accommodation for staff, that is also complying. So, and it's amazing the difference it can make. So we've made significant impacts on hotels. But the next stage, I believe, as the customer, if you go forward 5 years, I think we will just accept it. Every single hotel in any good quality mainstream company will have an environmental rating, and I think a hotel that does not meet the minimum standard, customers will not actually go there. They'll place their business at a hotel that they see as meeting acceptable environmental standards. What we're then talking to resorts about is to say, well, let's go forward 10 years. If that's the climate and the customer becomes more aware and more sensitive, we might still start rating destination resorts about their infrastructure, their waste management, their water management, their use of local produce for the hotels and so forth. So I think, but I think it started. People are beginning to understand the issue, and it's great to be part of that.
Well, I mean, obviously there is a great groundswell of opinion now. You can see it here at the WTM. More and more is devoted to responsible tourism. And I know that you're very keen on the, let's not call it tree hugging, but the action behind the environmental sustainability. And I know also that you've got a very big interest in the social sustainability elements of sustainable tourism, which is to say at the destinations, increasing the footprint of the passengers.
Yes, that's right. I learned a few years ago, I think it was the Sun and Sand Hotel in Kenya, that felt that they'd won one of our environmental awards a few years ago. And talking to the owners there, what they realised, there was a sort of this hotel bubble with everyone flying in on our jets and staying there on the beach, and then outside the compound of the hotel it was a very different world, and there was an uncomfortableness of the local community. What they then decided to do was involve the local community. They built some schools, they built a medical centre, they sponsored some of the bright children to go on to university, and then slowly the village realised that the hotel was an opportunity, and then suddenly the atmosphere changed when customers went down to the local village. They were welcomed, and there was a connection made that the customers' enjoyment and actually making them feel welcome actually was good for the local community. And then obviously they then invested in much better accommodation and so forth. And why not? I mean, in saying the story to you, it sounds, well, that's pretty sensible, but it's quite surprising how that little bit of effort, the human touch, goes in. And of course the customers like engaging with the local community. It is part of the holiday, apart from the beach and the views and the hotel, but also enjoying a different culture and contacting people you wouldn't normally meet is also part of the enjoyment of travelling.
Now, You were one of the pioneers of sustainable tourism in First Choice, and you're now in a major position in TUI, which is, I presume, it's the biggest tour operator in the world, or if not that, pretty much close to it. How much is your message going out throughout the group and through the group to the general public?
Well, I mean, First Choice, obviously, it was very enjoyable, but we will say the third largest company in the UK. What is thoroughly enjoying about TUI is there's two things. One is Germany, the TUI itself, is very pro this and always has been. So they've, if you like, been more advanced and more constructive in their view than, say, the UK industry was. Then there's the Nordics. And then so so some of the countries within Europe have been taking this more seriously for longer than the UK. So suddenly the larger footprint of TUI is actually very positive from where I've come. And then in the UK, the Thomson brand, which is obviously probably the best brand in the UK, is also customers responding very positively to Thomson's now being seen to support the World Care Fund, the travel life ratings of hotels in the industry. So it's so the scale is, and our impact and being heard is actually is much louder than it used to be just as First Choice.
So from your point of view, the future is really becoming a bit more sustainable than it was.
It definitely is, yeah, and clearly with the world of TUI, all our companies take, all it's driven by Peter Long and Johan Lundgren and myself. And Michael Friend's always the chairman. I mean, every company knows this is an important plank of behaving responsibility as one of the values of TUI. So it's great, and because we're big enough, people will listen to us.